Hi, I'm Dr. Arthur Wilson. For over 30 years, I worked on projects ranging from small and operational to large, complex transformation involving businesses, communities, and governments. A question I kept asking myself: why do so many transformation projects fail? Even when they have experienced teams, solid methodologies, and real resources that are involved. The answer I kept finding was the same. It wasn't about the schedule. It wasn't about the software. It was that the existing project management methodologies were not built to see, let alone manage, the social-technical risks that emerge when leadership, culture, process, and technology are all in motion at the same time. That insight became the LCPT Framework, a practical tool to help organizations and project managers see those forces clearly, identify risk earlier, and improve their chances of success. PMBOK, Prince2, Agile, Waterfall. These are all proven frameworks. They provide strong structures for delivery, for governance, and project execution. We use them for very good reasons, but transformation projects introduce a whole different kind of complexity. Leadership dynamics are taken into account, cultural resistance, misaligned technology. Those don't sit neatly inside the current project management delivery frameworks. Most transformation projects do fail. Depending on the study, somewhere between 60 and 70% do not deliver what they set out to. That is, providing projects on time, on budget, with the intended outcomes. Now, if you manage enough projects, you already know this is not just a statistic. It's a bad memory. When a project is initiated, it looks clean on paper. It has a charter, a sponsor, a solid plan. All these components are in place. They have all been approved. But take a closer look. What you actually have is a field of competing forces. This is what most transformation projects look like before alignment is achieved. Leadership is setting the direction. Culture is trying to shift behavior. Process managing the daily load. Technology is enabling work, or sometimes creating friction. The failure rate is high because many of these forces never align at all. The forces begin to separate into two lanes. On the left is the strategic networks, leadership, and culture. These set direction and drive the pace of change. On the right, the operational networks, process, and technology. These do the work. This is the engine room. This is where many projects begin to fracture. Strategic decisions are made without operational reality. Sometimes operational teams absorbing load without a clear direction. Two halves drifting but in parallel, sometimes in tension, often without knowing it. The LCPT framework names this risk. Once named, the risk can be identified and mitigated. Each network divides into two. Leadership drives governance, finances, and people decisions. Culture shapes how the organization thinks, communicates, and behaves. Process manages the day-to-day task. Technology, the tools and systems that either support the work or they get in the way. 4 networks, 4 fields of influence. Each has its own logic, its own actors, its own power. Each is essential. None of them are optional. They must work together. Something has to move first. It's always leadership. Leadership approves the project. Leadership holds the relationships with key stakeholders, the board, the client, the customers. And leadership carries the consequences if things do go wrong. When leadership focuses and locks in project governance, locks in finance, people, and the plan, it becomes a pillar, a structural force capable of holding the project together and pulling other networks into alignment. That's the first act of the LCPT framework. Leadership reaches outward. The signal moves to culture, and culture becomes a pillar. But culture doesn't just receive, it transmits. The signal moves to process, and process aligns. Daily tasks find their shape, workflows settle, process transmits again, this time to technology. Systems start to orient around the work that needs to be done. We now have 4 pillars, standing. They are aligned, each in active conversation with one another. This is what a project alignment looks like. Every project carries risk. The LCPT framework does not pretend otherwise. Each network carries its own risk. Governance gaps, budget exposure, resistance to change, system failures. But those risks don't need to stay contained. The leadership risk becomes a culture problem. A failure in technology creates a process crisis. The LCPT framework brings risk into view across the 4 networks. These risks are identified, prioritized, and owned collectively. Now the full picture. At the top, customer and stakeholder expectations. This is the reason why the project exists. Results flow back up. Below that, project scope. Then risk that need to be managed. And the 4 pillars. Leadership, culture, process, technology, in continuous, non-linear conversation with one another. Strategic and operational, both connected, both essential. The LCPT framework makes sociotechnical risk visible. The networks become accountable and transformation achievable. In closing, when leadership, culture, process, and technology move together, stakeholders are more confident, teams spend less time on rework, and projects are better placed to deliver on time, within budget, and to the quality that was promised. That's what the LCPT framework is designed to support, not by replacing existing project management methodology, but by managing the socio-technical risk that sit outside of those methodologies. I'm Dr. Arthur Wilson. If you'd like to explore how the LCPT framework might apply to your work, I'd welcome the conversation. Thank you.